So this is going to be a really quick thing. I see by the number of spills that most people have been on. Most of you are going to really know all of this. Some it might be new, but it's going to be a quick high coverage of on water cleanup measures. So there's first thing we're going to go into is boom types. There's hard boom and sorbent boom. Hard boom is basically anything that forms a solid barrier. You're keeping oil on one side. Hopefully you're going to keep oil on one side. It's for containing an oil spill so that you can get in there and clean it up later. Or it's also for excluding oil from other locations that you want to protect. And then sorbent boom is anything where it's actually recovering the oil. It's it's to actually bring the oil into it so that you can clean it up from the oil from the surface. Hard boom has been around for a long time. People used to use logs just to circle around boom around the oil spill and chain them together, and that was one of the ways that they used to that they came up with the boom technology. It's grown somewhat since then, but it's got a lot of limitations to it. And one of the biggest factors is that if people haven't played with it and gone out and exercised it before, and then they go to pull boom out, everybody expects it to be this wonderful thing, and half the time if they haven't done anything with it, either somebody gets hurt or it's made the situation even worse. That about don't fight Mother Nature, that's one of the biggest issues is trying to put boom across fast water. And fast water is not what you think is fast water. Anything over 3/4 of a knot, which is really, really slow moving water, is considered fast water. If you go straight across with boom, you're going to liable to get somebody hurt, or you're going to just rip the boom up. Totally ineffective. Different components of boom. There's lots and lots of different kinds of boom out there. This is one of the most common ones you see, a hard boom with the cylindrical or round flotation in here. So basically, this part is going to sit on top of the water. This sits down into the water column, and your oil is going to stay hopefully around in this area right here. You have on this one, you have two different tension members. You have this, which is primarily for towing and anchoring it out, and then a top section up here that also depends on the size of the boom. You may not have a top tension member. And then this actually also acts, the chain in the bottom actually acts as a weight also on there. Any questions about boom or boom construction? I didn't think so. Okay. Different kinds of boom that are out there, different uses. What I'm showing here is some really big ocean boom. And that stuff, when that's being deployed, it's a dangerous evolution. Here, this is also, showing, this is just a training evolution here, but if you've got boom out there that's possibly been used before, or even just oil on the decks, it's very slippery. Deploying boom is a very hazardous situation, so safety is very much so a key factor in it. This is showing boom as a primary. A lot of times, often boom is put up in primary and secondary deployment, so that if it does get past one segment, it's contained in another segment. And this is boom that is shown that it just sits in the water and they're deploying it out. There's so many different ways of deploying boom. This is one where they either always keep it in the water, and that's just in a storage, and then they're starting to pull it out and reel it around the vessel there. Talked about the safe workplace for personnel. Not only is it safe location, but also that those personnel hopefully have been trained in boom deployment prior to an actual evolution. So training is critical. And the site and deep, slow-moving water, that may not be the case. So you're going to have to just work around that. And there's different courses that responders have available to them to I know that EPA has a fast water booming course. A lot of the universities and some of the industry personnel or industries have different courses that are available for dealing with fast water. Quiet water collection area, ideal again, but you may not have that. Just use, look at the whole situation and try and develop a strategy that ideally will give you a good collection point where you can get in there with either vessels or vac trucks or whatever the situation dictates, but keeping safety in mind. Just talking about some different patterns or different methods of using it. Basically this one is showing plans, different methods for getting the boom out there. You can have it as exclusion for excluding it from either going into like a tidal land back here or something, or if the spill occurred upstream. Problem here is that if this, if there's current going back and forth through here and it's over 3/4 of a knot, that's going to be totally ineffective. So strategies, that's why the boom strategies in the ACP are tested on a regular basis and then upgraded, and they come up with okay, this would work better, so they incorporate it in there, and then years later they go through and retest those strategies. This is just showing different. This is showing that boom is also not only for just going out the long patterns that you normally see, but this is another kind of boom that is outside. This is a collection boom for a vessel moving through the water. Fast water booming. This is all of these. It's hard to see in this slide, but there's in this two segments of boom. There's a segment of boom here and here, and in this going down this river, there's about I think I counted on this one 14 lines, ropes going out there, and all of those have different anchoring points, and it's just to keep the boom in such an angle so that as that water and the oil that's floating on top of it hopefully is going to be collected and brought into this area here. These are wood chips or rice hulls or something, just showing that this is actually being an effective strategy here. And this was when I read. This was about 5 knots of current there. But when I went to a fast water booming course this past summer, I made it through 26 years of active duty Coast Guard time and never had a line part in my hands, or never even saw a rope, we call it line in the Coast Guard, part. And whenever I was working on an anchoring strategy, setting an anchor out here, and we had a lot of people pulling all these lines tight and getting into position, and I had a nylon line part right in front of me. It really scared me. Made me think about the safety again. I mentioned that it's putting out boom can be an unsafe evolution, so just keep that in mind as you're, if you're in the position of making the decisions on who you're going to have go out and deploy boom. Make sure that you've got the right people, the best your A team out there putting the boom out. A lot of different ways that boom can fail. Entrainment here is basically that's going to be caused by oil droplets coming off and breaking off and going underneath the skirt. Doesn't matter. You can't just say I'm going to get a longer skirt and drop it further down in the water. Going from 18 inches of skirt going down in the water, I'll go down 24 inches. It's still going to do the same thing. You're probably actually making the problem worse, because if you get a deeper skirt and you've got that cross current going through there, you're just going to rip something apart. Something's going to break or somebody's going to get hurt. So that's whenever you need to reevaluate and get the, put it in a different pattern come up with something where you're actually going to be going at a steep angle to the current and collecting. Drainage is actually where the boom is doing its job, and it's collecting a lot of oil there, and that would be a great place to get a skimmer or a backhoe. It's sitting right there. The only thing you possibly could get a bigger boom there in that situation, but until you get something to actually absorb or remove that oil, the next thing you can do is go downstream and put out additional boom. Splashover is just environmental conditions. Submergence is where it's the current is carrying it, so going across there, and it actually is not able to go underneath it, so it goes over the top and it actually pulls your boom under. Totally ineffective. Planing is same thing. It's like a water ski going across the water. It's all of those. Most of these are showing that you've got fast water and you've got an improper boom strategy deployed. So you've got absorbents, and adsorbents are another kind. These are this is active removal of oil from the water, not just the containment now. And an absorbent is something that goes inside the material and is like a sponge. And then adsorbent adheres to the outside. I've got a picture of. So you call adsorbents like the pom-poms or snare, or I think I've got a picture of that. And rope mop is another adsorbent. It stays on the outside. One thing I love this picture because you want to use the proper ratio or proportions of material. There's just like a sheen here. It's a little bit overkill. I think you made the situation worse because now all this stuff, not only did it cost a lot, but also it has to be disposed of. So there's a big, huge. This is your environmental cost right here versus probably the sheen out here. And you don't want to try and clean up Costco Busan with sorbents. That is Coast Guard. By the way. Adsorbents. This is a picture of snare, and the snare just pom-poms or snare. It works really good in riff-raff type areas. Usually, you're going to be using multiple different methods of cleanup. And hopefully you're not going to actually get it. You're trying to protect it from. I didn't have a good picture of on water cleanup here, but this is shoreside cleanup. But you can use snare also in some situations for on water cleanup. Just showing this picture, just showing that they've got the angle of deflection angle in here. This one, the tide went out. Doesn't show up too good, but the tide went out, and this boom is actually about 2 feet above the water. Okay, now rolling into skimmers. There's lots of different kinds of skimmers, and there's no one skimmer that is entirely better than the others. There's lots of different. Depends on your environment, depends on the location where the spill is, the sea state. The material that was spilled, how much it's weathered and everything. So there's lots of different kinds of skimmers, and they're always working on trying to the latest and greatest and everything. And there's a thing with the X Prize that $1 million prize was going to go out to the development and of the next generation of skimmers, and really interesting. That got industry really to focus on what can we do to go the next level up, and it was amazing some of the results that came out of that. For backdrop, or you've got to, when you're setting up your location for, if it's near shore, you want to try and get where you're going to collect your oil from at. You want to try and make sure it's not going to collect in a marshy area where you can't get anything in there. Sure, you might have the greatest strategy of getting the oil collected, but if you can't recover it, effectively, it's going to make the situation potentially even worse than letting it go further down and get it to a site where you can get resources in there to remove it. These are just different kinds of skimming operations. Lorry brush are really good for picking up heavy, thick crude. Rope mop, a lot of times rope mops are used for long-term cleanup. Just sit it there and it's 24-hour, 24/7 cleanup. Sends a mop out to a pulley system, over to another one, returns it, squeezes it into a barrel. The barrel's pumped out to a larger collection system, and it's just one person mans it, and it's active recovery. Another rope mop installation here. Skimmers, lots of different kinds of skimmers. One of the things that came out through Crucial Engineering, I think it is, or one of the manufacturers for that X Prize competition. One of the things that they came up with was on drum skimmers and these disc skimmers that just spin around slowly, and the oil surface tension hook, grabs onto the surface of the drum or the disc and spins around, and then it has scrapers that scrape all of the oil off of it, and then that's pumped off. Goes into a collection chamber inside, and then it's pumped off, off to shore, wherever a collection facility. Their entry into it was to put a, as they call it, fuzzy material on the outside, and it's like felt or velour, but it's a little bit longer threads. It's like a fur, and they coat it on the outside, and it increased their efficiency by, heard them say 600 to 800%. So it's huge increase, and that's their recovery increase, and the efficiency was increased greatly. So what they're doing now is they also take a lot of disc or skimmers, drum skimmers and disc skimmers that are already out there in the field, and they will evaluate whether they can put their fuzzy material on those, and so they can retrofit a lot of skimmers that are out there, and it seems they seem to still be holding up. They put them in service down in Deepwater Horizon, and they ran it for nonstop for weeks on end, and the material still stayed in place for that first generation. They're replacing some of it, but mostly it was because of the glue that they used, not the material that they used. And this weir skimmer, this is kind of the Coast Guard has on the Boston Swords types of installation, vessel of opportunity skimming system, and spilled oil recovery system. So more different kinds of skimmers. This one is actually this is through Elastec, American Marine, I think is the company. But this is the one, a small version of it, of the one that actually won the X Prize, and they greatly increased their. This was like 1,000% over the previous model of this. They increased their efficiency and recovery ratios, but these are being manufactured and sent overseas. Actually, everything has been, typically American oil spill response equipment. A lot of the latest technology has come from overseas. This is actually going on. A couple of units were shipped to Korea recently. China has bought some of these, and I think it's actually one was purchased in Norway, but that's probably because they're going to take it and try and make it better. Some other, these are advancing skimmers. These are the large vessel type skimmers. Just from most of the self-advancing skimmers or vessel skimmers like this. Most of them, they use the same basic technology, and then they just, the platform increases. And with platform increasing goes your storage capacity, which is huge. And again, I don't know, either you have heard or will hear about dispersant use, and in situ burning and everything. This on-water recovery is not the only tool by any means, but it is a tool and it can be used. And one of the best benefits of on-water recovery is that dispersant has a narrow window, and situ burning has a really narrow window. And then on-water recovery can also extend your time frame. You can, after the oil is weathered too much to burn, you can still use active skimming and oil or recovery. So kind of talked about this already. Environmental conditions, oil that you're actually having, encounter rate. Also, if you can't skim sheen, and that's one of the videos or something like a helicopter will be up there. Why are they cleaning? The video of sheen out there. You can't collect it. You can't get it up enough and thick enough to where you can actually go in and skim it. So it gives you a chance to recover large quantities. Like I said about the window opportunities on there. And success depends on effective deployment and everything, but also, there's just so many factors in there. And how are you going to define the success? Is it going to be per how much you recovered? Is it going to be how much oil and water? Your efficiency is taken into consideration. It just goes back to it that it's one tool that can be used along with all of the rest of the tools, the burning or the dispersants. The main thing is it can hopefully keep it from getting to shore, and that if you can protect it from getting to shore, it extends your time frame to be able to recover it or burn it or whatever you're going to do. And it's always a good day to be on the water. Any questions or any comments?